to a lot of people. Some people say leadership is ability to take charge, some people say leadership is scholarship. But leadership is the ability of three components to agree at a time. So the first component is a leader, the second component is a follower, and the last component is a situation. There is a scenario for some of us that are students of documentary. You see an Indian movie where there was a heavy country that fell on the road, and everybody was in a state of comatose on how to move the country away from there. There were security personnel who and there were safety personnel on that particular spot. Nobody could take charge, but it took the initiative of a little kid within the age of 0 to like 10 years old age, to say, let me begin to push this through. And every other person from heat of despair joined in to begin to push that through. And together, everybody was able to successfully push that through away from the road. That is example of what we call leadership. So leadership.
Can you be careful? Move this over. It's okay, easy for you. No, not the chair, the stool from here. I want to see your face.
So leadership is the ability of any person to identify a situation and galvanize followers to achieve a certain goal. You don't get that? Yes. So for me, as the chairman of the National Instance of Nigeria, I started when I was my secondary school days. So the urge to always take the center stage to lead started from you becoming the class rep of your class. You became assembly prefect. You went to Lagos State University and became deputy speaker of the most formidable student union movement in the whole of Sub-Saharan Africa, LASUTU. Then you later became speaker of the most formidable student union movement in the whole of Sub-Saharan Africa too, LASUTU. You went on service and became CEO in a state where people call the food basket of the nation. That is the ability to identify the relationship for you to step in. And so for me, leadership again is the ability of the follower of the leader of the person to discover a situation and organize people to achieve that goal.
I'm going to stay on you again because these things always nice, sound nice and flowery. But give us a situation that you have fixed as a leader. Give us a situation where as a leader, the followers agree with you, the situation which you are able to take them away from.
Thank you. Practical example. I think in 2012-2013, the Lagos State government increased the student fee, the tuition fee of last year, from like 25,000 to about 500,000. So some of us discovered that at that time, the situation is that a lot of young people, some that will later become our younger brothers, will not be able to approach the best state university in Nigeria and arguably in Africa. So what we discovered, what we decided as student union leaders there was to ensure that we bring together our fellow students on campus, galvanize them with strategic approach to ensure that the state fee act was reversed. And literally, on the day of our competition, not only was the state fee reversed, the Lagos State government under he returned back all the payments that have been made by students of LASU at the time.
Thank you very much. Let's come to our essay because it's not easy being a young lawyer, and not just a lawyer, SAN. That also takes a lot of grit, commitment, and focus on the part. Tell us a bit about your own story into leadership. and how you see leadership, especially in your career as a lawyer.
Thank you very much, Rachel, and of course, good afternoon. For me, growing up, I've always learned from my parents how they ensured to train us, how they helped us to grow. And you know, one of the things I tell people is leadership starts from the home unit. And once you begin to see how your parents, whether single father or single mother, treats you or behave or helps you to grow, then you begin to understand that leadership is something that starts from family unit. And that is what we all need to take home from here. Now, family unit does not necessarily have to be your immediate family. You would have mentors, bosses, people you look up to that will perhaps train you and push you in the right direction, and you gradually begin to learn from there. When I was in university, I interned at a law firm. Leader and my boss, and I started picking up interest in the profession. And there was one of these days that one of his bosses came to town, and he mentioned that there can never ever be anybody like that person. Want to become as a young person, you need 10 undivided years, and you need to be dedicated and focused. And of course, for you to be a leader, to be able to lead everybody must see that you can focus and you are dedicated to your work. And you know, from then on, I picked it up and said to myself, for my boss to say that this person is a great man, then whatever it is, ingredients or whatever it is that made him to become who he is, I will follow. From that day on, learning from my boss, ensuring that I stayed focused at work, and of course, the rest is history. Thank you, Madam.
Fantastic. Thank you. We'll give a round of applause. Lagos, Mr. Olawale, and the reason I come back to you is because a lot of young people here, they like to build businesses like you, but they don't know your journey. They believe somebody just woke up on invested in you and you're able to build that kind of structure that you have. Would you give us a bit of your journey also into how you're able to establish such a formidable area for people to for leisure in this country? And I've been there once and it's beautiful. So tell me.
But one thing that you see that everybody has in common is that you must be said about the family structure. That is, you must have a family structure that is enabling, that can help you either see a problem and challenge you to exercise your madness, like I say, because at a very young age, I was lucky to have parents who allowed me to exercise my madness. So I started the business at 14, and then tried a lot of things. And as a student, I had a business on campus. I done a lot of things. But what that would have done is the ability for you to be able to make mistakes and have the courage to even make mistakes in the first place and not make a big deal out of it. Just make the mistake. And I tell people that mistakes increase your experience with your mistakes. And when you make these mistakes early, especially at a very young age, you can get away with it. Because people will say that. For me in business, I'd always known that it's business that I was going to do. And I tried my hands on so many things, trying to build different businesses, and till date I'm still building businesses. But for anybody that wants to journey into the life of entrepreneurship and do business, it's just about finding the problem and solving it. What we do mostly is that we talk about problems a lot, and we don't talk about the solutions. And even when we talk about the solutions, we are not courageous enough to implement those solutions. We just sit back and expect that some angel from another place will fix the problem. The problem we have as a country, nobody is going to fix it. We have to sit back here and look at the problem. When I integrated the simulators, we were just thinking about the travel abroad and the these things. And we were thinking that we spend a lot of millions of dollars every year to travel abroad for summer, and we're thinking all of those places that we're going, we can never bring those places in, and nobody can do it. And that's a problem. So you look at it, you see.
I'm really looking forward to the question, the Q&A, because there are a lot of young people in the audience, and they also want to be wealthy, they want to be successful. But when government comes to provide empowerment, they bring sewing machine, they bring keke napep, they bring these basic things that everybody's, and the young people are saying they are tired, they are more than keke napep and just a sewing machine and stuff like that. We want real empowerment. We want some kind of funds to support our businesses. As a youth council leader, let me come to you. What has been your experience in helping young people move above the mark? We just don't want to raise. I think the commissioner was saying that if an empowered youth is an empowered nation. How can we empower young people beyond sewing machine and keke napep?
All right, thank you so much. So the first thing is government institutions used to know that before the commencement of an empowerment program or an engagement program, there is a need for the youth themselves to be carried along in the planning and execution of that particular program. Because the belief of every common young person is that the reason and the notion behind the empowerment program that you are organizing is just to organize a charade and put them into a photographic session of distributing materials. But when they are fully abreast and involved, take for example, at our level, what we do, for example, with the Lagos State Ministry of Job Creation and Employment, of course, and all other agencies of government, Ministry of Youth and Social Development, is that we always advocate that before these programs, during the constitutionalization process of this program, make sure you have representative of young people who understand the young people's psyche and thinking, so that when you want to implement such program, we buy into the program from the get-go. Secondly, is that we also always advocate that use of materials are going to be done. What you perceive it is quality and intentional training programs, like maybe 6-month programs, 7-month programs, or 8-month programs. With that, when you give someone the sewing machine at the end of the day, the person will know why that sewing machine is elementary and important.
Engineer, let me stay with you for a moment, because I get that. Involve the young people, but sometimes young people don't even know what they want. Because you can't give what you don't have. So for example, now let me tell you, if you are used to being served rice in nylon bag as a young person, and you attend an event where they empower young people, and you are in the committee, the only thing you do is, let us serve the rice in nylon bag. Now that's how it is. Because they don't know better. So my question to you is, how do we create a vision for the young people that they can also buy into? Because sometimes they don't know better. When they don't need to join the committee, they are only going to speak on what they know. But how do we create a bigger picture, a better, inspiring movement where you are the one as a leader telling them, no, we're not using another bag. By using proper plastic plates or ceramic plates for you, because you are deserving of that. So what's the role of vision for a leader, especially when it comes to young people?
So let me play this scenario. So when you organize an empowerment program and you say let's take for example, this empowerment program is organized maybe on the island in a very beautiful serene environment, and you say you come so day and maybe there's solution for mobilization because they don't have that finance, of course, to fall. You observe that oftentimes the level of commitment that you get from that particular program will be different from the level of commitment you get when you take a program, or maybe you organize a 1-week program. You say, I want you to become a fashion designer and begin to earn millions of naira. And you say, this program you attend it in, let's say for example, an area in the ghetto area, for example. Their mission is that you don't want to ask them to buy into what you do. And again, we cannot overemphasize that. We just must identify the people who are going to share the same ideology as those who are You can't say the entire young people that we have in our country cannot relate at that pedestal. So we must look for a way just to plug them in so that they can buy into it.
Please give a round of applause. Are you people listening? I think I'm hearing a lot of chattering going on because these are some important gems that have been discussed here. Let me come to Prof. Prof, you see, there's always a friction between young people and the elders. There's always that. They don't want us coming, they don't want us to get involved, they are holding the positions. And you as a professor, in a place where I'm sure there are older people who are prof, and you have to sit amongst them. Tell us how to break that law, how to penetrate, because a lot of young people also want to get ahead, but they feel that the older people are not allowing people access. So how did you bring it within the professoral academia?
Okay, so our people say that Omode Gbon Agbagbon Lakudale. Meaning that both the young and the old have a level of wisdom in them. So for me, it is showcasing what I can offer. So when I'm in the midst of the elders, I'm in the midst of older people, I'm able to contribute meaningfully by showing what I can do to contribute to that process. And I think that is a way to build confidence, with the adults. When you show them what you are able to deliver on, when you show them what you're capable of, they are able to trust you to deliver on things like that. At the University of Lagos, we have innovative spaces that have been created to foster creative thinking. And in those spaces, what we tend to do is to help our youth to showcase the things that they've been able to develop or come up with. This showcasing is not just to us as their lecturers, but we invite people in relevant industries to also help value what they have done, appraise what they've done, and that helps them to be able to improve on themselves and even do better. At the end of the process, we get to help them register their own businesses through our Entrepreneurship and Skill Development Center, and we are already creating that avenue for them to thrive, creating young leaders, creating young entrepreneurs in our spaces. So really, if you want to be called to the table to eat with the elders, you need to show them that you know how to dine. You need to show them that you've got what it takes to do it. And then on the elders' part, they also need to trust that this youth actually has something to give and that it can deliver. So when we're given the opportunities as youth, I dare say that we should deliver on whatever it is we're given to do with integrity, with trust, and this will help us to be able to navigate the way with the older generation.
Thank you very much. Please give a round of applause. I'm going to throw the questions down to the audience. I need about 2 or 3 questions because this is what a symposium is. I know we have a lot of rice sharing and drinks. It's important. But what's more important is that young people go home with information that can inspire them and help them to move to the next level. So I would like to take a few questions from the audience so that we can wrap this up very quickly. Because at the end of the day, it's about them. So can I get a roving mic through the back? I have a few hands up already. It's important that we engage them because there's a lot of murmuring and going and talking. So maybe it's time to engage. Whichbody, there's a hand up there. Please keep just mention your name and keep your questions very simple so that we can accommodate as many as possible. We have to wrap up in about 5 minutes. Okay, while we're waiting for the mic, let me come to you and say concerning your own thoughts, just generally speaking, what can leaders do to reconnect with young people? A lot of them, yes, we see them in the hall, but when they go on social media, it's like a whole different world, a whole different group of people they're thinking. So there's a mentality issue, there's an exposure problem. How can leaders begin to connect with young people? What's your own advice as a lesson? What's the best way to reconnect?
Okay, before I answer that question, I was going to touch on the issue of sewing machines and things you give to people. Please, for the politicians in the house, don't stop giving us sewing machines. We need it. And, by extension, to that is after giving them things like that, train them. Because it's not enough that you're just giving the machines. Make sure there's a 6 months training, a 3 months training, and perhaps you attach them to places so that, of course, from their own businesses too, they can go. But coming to the question as regards what leaders can do, I want to say a big thank you to Moyo, Honorable Moyo. Looking at him, and of course from our friend also, Seyi, you will notice that as leaders, they open their arms to people. For there to be a connection, I'm sure for all of us here who listen to so many things about Mr. Seyi, his arms are wide open. He ensures that he accommodates everybody. And so for all of us leaders here, we need to accommodate people more. We need to have open door policy, have time, and of course, invest in people. Deliberately seek out people as leaders and then invest in them. It's not enough, like you mentioned, sometimes it's not easy for young persons to approach people or to approach leaders. Have events like this that Honorable Moyo has packaged together for both young people and the older persons to be in the same room, and then we can build up from there.
Thank you very much. Let me take one question.
We have only been able to take two.
Only 2 questions. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm privileged to be here, and my name is Adebaki Ayafikra. All being said, I love what the son said. My question is not a question already, it's like kind of an advice. There's leadership, there's execution, but what we lack in Nigeria that is making us behind, there is no check and balances. When you give out instructions, you need self-control to know that what is being done is checked to ensure that it goes on. That implementation is done, but check and balances, control to see that the result is being gotten for what is being done.
Okay, thank you, accountability. Thank you very much. And the next question or comment?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Comrade Ademifu Adekayo. I just have the first one observation on the empowerment. Said they do give like sewing machine, graphic machine, all of them. I think if you want to empower someone, maybe our leaders should please listen to this man answer. If you want to empower someone, please do empower people that are into those skills already. Please, we shouldn't give someone who learned bribery, go and give that person a sewing machine. What do you expect that person to do? The person will understand it. And someone who is not doing anything, you give not that person a motorbike or something, they will go and sell it. That is one. And 2 is, please, we want to, on behalf of myself and the youth, we want to plead on all our leaders here. Most importantly, our local government chairman and all of those people that are into power. Please, we need youthful inclusion in all of our various local sectors. Please, help us out. This is the time you can bring us up. This is the time you can bring us to know more about power sectors. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. We're wrapping up very soon. While we're having our meeting, where I saw the special advisor to the governor of tourism, Mr. Kingsley, walking. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. And also we have our High Excellency Princess Adejoke Olukade, the senior special assistant to the president on sustainable development. Welcome. Good to have you here with us. Okay, so we're wrapping up now. We're going to give each of our panelists 1 minute each to say what the 2 things on leadership, legacy, and empowerment, especially from the open space. Let me start with you, engineer. What is your own word to welcome you today?
Thank you. So, I want us to look at the theme of today and model it around the speaker for today, the center for today, Ambassador Seyi Tinubu. There is a popular saying that the fool at 40 is a fool forever. But here we are celebrating a legend at 40. Someone who has killed his and contribute our quota to the development of our nation. Because we don't have any other place we can call our own. Nigeria is an example of where we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the good ones are the ones that we should continue to protect. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Sir.
Very simple. No matter what, no matter whatever you see that is the missing link in leadership in our country, find your own path and just do it. Because it is when you do your own path, no matter how small, just find something that you can do. When you do your own path, that's how you can sing. And that's how something can help you. And you don't leverage on what you're already doing. But if you cannot do it, and you're just talking about what is not done, whatever it is, just do your own part and contribute in your own little way. It might even be in your own small family. Like in my company, every foundation we do, every CSR we do it right within the company. I have children in the private who are not doing help. I have children in the national. So I don't do CSR outside. I just have within my own corporation. And there's always a need within that your own corporation. Don't take a picture and do anything outside. Don't start. There's a poor person in your family. Start by
Thank you very much. Leadership, legacy, and youth empowerment. For me, I would say that each of us as youth need to ensure that we make our own contributions in our workplace. And the things that we do on a daily basis let us provide leadership. We need to embrace legacy as a form of planting the seeds today that we hope to germinate tomorrow, that other people will also benefit from. Not necessarily building structures, but building things that will impact and outlive us as we grow. We need to see legacy as an opportunity for us to embrace both the old and the young, where we don't throw away the wisdom and the historical perspective of elders, but we also embrace the vibrancy, the integral perspective of our young people. And so we build a legacy that is ever evolving rather than static. And so youth empowerment is just the glue that holds these two words together. And I hope that we will embrace it. Thank you very much.
Okay, for me, before we all package in the room, try as much as possible, open your doors, train younger persons, help them succeed. Then of course, for all of us younger people, look for someone, perhaps in this room or outside this room, model your life like that person. There is nothing that you cannot achieve if you dream and you work at it. Thank you.
And for me, I like to do one word. Seyi, Tinubu is not the first son of any president that will die in our country. He's a young man that has shown leadership. He's no personal business. He's lived a legacy, not living, he's actually ensuring that what he leaves behind is seen, I can touch, I can feel. He has empowered people who we see today. He has lifted people. I personally have benefited from some of his kindness and his sincerity. And the truth is that this is a young man who is going places. I'm happy that I'm part of this conversation to commemorate the fantastic work he's doing and encourage him to start every day to continue. Thank you very much for having us.
All right, thank you very much to our panelists. We will take